In this video, I want to talk about tracks and channel strips. Now, we've seen tracks get created automatically as we've dragged Apple loops into the body of the Arrange window here. Tracks are basically listed in the track list area of the Arrange window here from top to bottom, and each track is assigned to a channel strip. Let me reveal the inspector again by pressing this button or the key command I, and we'll see that the channel strip on the left here always updates to display the parameters of the currently selected track. So for example, there's our drum track. We see the name there and the fader values. There's our bass track, it changes, and there's our clavinet track. Now there are different types of tracks. There are audio tracks for recording, playing, and editing audio, software instrument tracks for working with MIDI that's triggering software instruments. There are external MIDI tracks for working with MIDI data that's going to be triggering external sound devices. And we have folder tracks, that's ways of grouping multiple regions together and treating them as blocks. But each type of these tracks have corresponding channel strips that have subtle nuances that are different between them. Let's take a look at the anatomy of a channel strip now, and we'll look at the audio channel strips and software instrument channel strips, since that's what we have loaded in currently. Let's look at audio, and now the corresponding audio channel strip. We have on top this setting button, and this allows for channel strip settings. You can click hold here and choose from a flip menu of available channel strip settings, which in the case of audio tracks are basically chains of effects plugins that get inserted here. And in the next video, we're going to look at calling up some different settings on top of our parts that we have loaded in already. So the settings are where you load channel strip settings. Next, we have a field marked EQ. When there's a channel strip EQ called up, this field displays a little overview of the shape of the contour of the frequencies that are being altered by the equalizer. We'll see it in the next channel strip in a moment. Now we have insert fields. This is where we insert plugins to process the sound. You click holding at a drop-down menu with a variety of choices of different plugins for processing. And as you add a plugin, another empty slot grows up to a maximum of 15 possible inserts. Below this is the area marked sends, and this is where we route the signal to other or multiple destinations. Basically, you click hold here, and by means of assigning to a bus, you call up a little knob here where you can dial up the amount of signal that you want to send to another destination by means of this virtual bus pathway. And below that we have the input and output section. Now the input section, this may or may not look like what you have on your display depending on your hardware that you have. But this is where you assign the physical input for audio tracks, what you want to record from. In this case, the default is the input 1, 2 of my interface. But you decide where and what physical hardware inputs this track will be recording from in this field. Below is the output field, and that's where you decide the routing of this channel strip. So depending on your audio hardware, you click hold here and assign it to which physical output pair on your interface that you want the output of this channel strip to get routed to, and the default is stereo output. Next is a groups settings field, and here you can assign the channel strips to a group for collective processing. By assigning multiple channel strips to the same group, you can perform functions and have them apply to multiple channel strips at once. Here we have automation modes, and you choose between off, read, touch, latch, and write, different modes for working with track automation. Next we have the pan or balance knob for adjusting the channel strip's position in the stereo field. And in the case of a stereo track like we're on now, this is a balance knob rather than pan. And a nice little handy shortcut to reset this back to the default value, you can option click. And any of the parameters, this is throughout Logic, if you option click, it'll set it to its unity or default value. Here we have the main level fader for controlling the level of playback. And here's the indicator for the amount of signal that's being generated on this channel strip. I'll play this for a moment and you'll see it move. Next we have mute and solo buttons, M and S. This I button is for input monitoring, and when this is active, what it'll allow it to do is that the audio arriving at the input of this channel strip will pass through this channel strip, even though it might not be record enabled. Next is the R button, and that's for record enabling the track, which is an important first step for when you're getting ready to record. Here we have an interlinked circle button, and this indicates that this is a stereo track, and we see the left and right side of the meters there. You can click and change it to a single circle, which will make it a mono track. Or you can click hold and set there between mono, stereo, or the left side specifically or right side specifically of a stereo track, or make it a surround track. I'll leave it as stereo for now. Next, we have the name here. This is the name of the channel strip. And here in the track list, we have the name. And this can be resized, by the way. As you see, part of the names are getting cut off. You get resize handles here, and you can hide or reveal as much or as little as you want of the names. Let's look now at the instrument channel strip. So I'm going to click on this one, and this will update. So here we have the same channel strip settings button. But when we called up this Apple Loop, it called up some channel strip settings that were preset with the Apple Loop, and it included compression and EQ. That's why these two plugins were already called up here. And here's the display for the EQ, and you'll see here that it's a flat line, meaning that there's no alterations that have been set in the channel EQ. If I double-click this open, you'll see the interface. There's nothing that's been set. The inserts and send section work basically the same way as the audio tracks do, but on these instrument tracks, the input section is different. Rather than assigning a physical input from your audio hardware interface, which is basically irrelevant for a software instrument track, what you do is you call up the actual software instrument that you want to use. So if I click hold there, we get a choice of all the available instruments in Logic and third-party ones underneath. So that's where you assign what instrument is going to be used on an instrument track. The rest of the fields are the same as on audio tracks: the output assignment, the group assignments, the automation mode, the pan balance, the level meter, mute and solo buttons. Now there's no record button because recording on a software instrument track does not involve record arming the channel strip. And then the name here. And you'll notice a discrepancy between the name on the channel strip here and the name in the track list. We'll look at that in more detail in another video when we look at naming in more detail. Now, another thing I wanted to point out about these channel strips is this little field over here, and this is a peak display. It'll display the loudest level of your signal as it's playing, and it really works efficiently as a clip detector, a clip indicator. When values exceed 0 there, it displays in red, and it's a good visual feedback mechanism to let you know that your signal is peaking. Let me play it. And there you'll see that this is displaying the peak value of the channel strip, and that peak was 5.4. But this, the stereo output, which is the sum of all the tracks that are playing, actually peaked, and it clipped, and you see that the value was in red. So you can clear these fields by clicking in them, or by using the key command 0. And that's on the regular part of your computer keyboard, not on the additional part on the right. So that's the basic anatomy of channel strips. Audio, software instrument, and that's another audio one. And when we open the mixer by pressing X, we'll see all those channel strips represented there as well. So these are the same. When you click one there, it updates, and you can get access to it either there or there. So, channel strips and tracks. That's it for now. Stay tuned, and I'll see you for more in the next video.